Hey everybody, Kurt Henry here, mortgage broker at the Mortgage Center. We are your go-to mortgage broker in the Durham region, and this is a weekly mortgage market update just to let you know what's going on in the mortgage market. So we know that the Bank of Canada increased the rate by 0.25% today, which has a direct impact on variable rate mortgages and lines of credits. That increase was this past week. Last week I had mentioned reasons why the Bank of Canada would have been feeling pressure to increase the rates, which was GDP was higher than what they expected in the first quarter. Inflation had just ticked up for the first time in April of this year. Since May of last year, inflation had come down every month. Up until April of this year when it went up just a little bit. So that was a factor for the Bank of Canada for sure. Bank of Canada sees that there's consumer spending still is strong as a result of government spending and access to credit, such as credit cards, for instance. The labor market up until today hadn't really shown any signs of weakness since the unemployment rate has been 5% since December of last year. As of this morning, today's Friday, there was a jobs report that came out that said that the Canadian economy did lose 17,000 jobs, which puts the unemployment rate up to 5.2%. That's pretty significant because that is the first increase in unemployment since December of 2022. So that's a pretty strong sign that the economy is perhaps starting to slow down, which is what the Bank of Canada wants to see. Now, that's only one report. There's many reports that will be coming out between now and next month, which will be important factors for the Bank of Canada in order for them to determine if they're going to want to increase rates again or not in July. And then there's another announcement in September as well. Again, a lot of the reports that are going to be coming out will be supportive or will be important information for the Bank of Canada to determine what they're going to do on that next rate announcement. Some people are asking about the housing market. What is going to happen with the housing market? The housing market is all about supply and demand, as many know. Supply of housing has been a factor for quite a while now. There's not enough supply of housing for the demand. A couple of factors that would be constraints to the supply would be there's constraints to building homes. For instance, builders have struggles with red tape involved in building homes. Not to mention the cost to build a home is now much higher. Even development costs have gone up quite a bit. That kind of thing is a constraint to supply of housing. The demand of housing would be, immigration is a big factor to the demand of housing. In 2023, the target immigration number for Canada is 465,000 new immigrants in 2023 to get their PR status. In 2024, the target is 485,000 new immigrants, and in 2025, the target is 500,000 immigrants. So when we talk about the supply and demand of housing, sure, there might be some, more supply come on the market for maybe some people that need to sell their house because perhaps they can't afford a mortgage payment. But there's also significant demand that is coming onto the market as well. Just not only immigration, but household formation is another factor that enhances housing demand. Household formation is when you get, let's say, mom, dad, brother, sister. Well, if brother, sister, when they grow up and they want to buy a house of their own, that one household turns into 3 households. So household formation is a factor that goes to the housing demand as well as immigration. So anyways, those are some factors. Some people ask, why is the government kind of involved in so much immigration? And a lot of that has to do with the economy. When you have the baby boomers that are looking at retiring or have already retired, and the labor market needs workers for the Canadian economy to work, that's where there's a need for immigration to come in there. So anyways, just kind of a bit of a recap on what's happening right now as far as where rates are going to go in the future. there's a lot of different predictions out there. Inflation expectations are a big factor. We don't seem to be at the point where the expectation for inflation is to come down very quickly, very soon. Um, but we seem to be, getting closer to that. What is needed for rates to come down is some sort of a recession. Normally, a recession means that there's 2 quarters of negative GDP growth um, in a row, and that's what a recession technically means. And rates technically or typically would come down either leading into a recession or midway through a recession. So some would say that that might happen within the next 12 months. Time will tell, of course, with lots of different things going on between now and then. So if you want to know what you should be doing with your mortgage renewal, refinance, or if you should be purchasing a house, there's a lot of case-by-case factors that go into what one person should do versus another person. So whether it's your risk tolerance, your cash flow, your financial stability, lots of different factors to consider on what different people should do with their mortgage renewal or with just mortgages in general. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to reach out and we'd be happy to help.